What is up, you guys? Welcome back to The Heaviest Weight. It's your girl Cece here, and let's dive right in. Like if we haven't been gone for forever and no one noticed. I tend to do these things where I'm like, okay, I totally have a stable structure to my life, and then I just throw that all out the window, uproot it, and keep it spicy. So here we are, keeping it spicy. If you didn't know, now you know. Let me be the first to welcome you back to my humble abode upon the Scarlet Lady. I am back on ships for right now. So with that in mind, I had a lot of things I wanted to talk about first. But I felt like this one was fitting, appropriate, even time sensitive, if you will, as we start planning these summer vacations and destinations and all these things, and very true to me and where I'm at right now and traveling. So I've coined the term for this one, suitcase gains, if you will, just because I think people underestimate vacation time as a time to focus on yourself and a time to kind of reset, regroup. And instead they're like, oh, I'm going to blow my diet, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I won't be able to keep my goals or keep myself in check. And they just think of it almost like as a binge. And that's not at all what it has to be. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want to talk about a few of those common myths or things that I hear all the time and shed some light on those, as well as what I think you can do to make sure that while you travel, if you're on the go all the time, or if you're just on a quick little vacation, how you can stay on track and you can stay focused on what you want to get out of your life, your phase that you're in, and your destination, wherever that might be. So without further ado, let's dive right into some suitcase gains. I want to go ahead and start with the common myths, some of which that I just briefly glossed over, but the first one I feel like I hear all the time is, I hear this from clients too. I'm going on vacation, so I'm going to have to take a pause on training, or I'm going out of town, so I'm going to have to stop doing this thing. I'm like, what do you mean? You're going to stop living? No. Are you going to stop walking? No. Are you going to stop eating on vacation? Doubtful. So with that in mind, your fitness, air quotes, fitness journey is also not on pause, because those decisions that you make daily also affect your fitness goals, believe it or not. So vacation doesn't mean your fitness has to be on pause at all. You don't even need a full gym. You can even work out in a hotel room, even if where you're staying doesn't have a space designated to work out. You can work out within the space and confines that you have. And according to the Journal of Applied Physiology back in 2017, they had a research study that showed 10 to 20 minutes of movement daily maintains muscle tone and keeps the metabolism close to where you have it on your normal day-to-day life. So let's say you're an avid gym goer and you go, to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, and then all of a sudden you're going on this trip for a couple of weeks, let's say even a month. As long as you're still active, you might go a little stir crazy if this is throwing you off of your schedule. But as far as muscle maintenance and how your metabolic rate is going, it's all going to stay pretty close to home base and what home base looks like to you, as long as you're giving yourself 10 to 20 minutes of designated daily movement, workout, whether that be body weight, whether that be in the hotel room, whether that be whatever. So it's not that hard to maintain the progress that you've already made. Are you going to make shred gains doing 20 minutes of body weight? No. But are you going to lose all the hard work you've put in? Also no. So keep that in mind when you're like, oh, I don't have time, or oh, we have such a busy schedule, or oh, I have all these things planned out. 10 to 20 minutes. 10 to 20 minutes. That's nothing. Wake up a little earlier. Wake up half an hour earlier and you'll thank yourself, because then you'll be more focused. You'll have more mental clarity. It's already out of the way. Boom, cat, done. Anyways, moving on. The second one I hear all the time. I'll just get back on track after vacation. It's only a few days. It doesn't really matter. Right. I also like to point out this. These are the same people that go, I don't know why I'm losing weight. And then on the weekend, they go crazy and they order out and they eat all these sweets and they do all these things and they have all these drinks, and oh, it was a girls' night out, and oh, it was this, and oh, we were just hanging out, and oh, it was somebody's celebration, and so I ate all the... A few days makes a difference. I know I just said over there, designating a little bit of time every day helps maintain, but also a few days of just going completely off track, bender, whatever, does more damage than you might realize, because it's also giving you this like mental relationship with your progress and your journey, where now it's this kind of binge and then feel guilty and then restrict and then binge because you're too restricted, and then there goes the cycle. You see it snowballing, right? It's a slippery slope. So I would say, these all or nothing mentalities and this like, if I can't be 100% dialed in, I might as well just have a freebie. That isn't a lifestyle. This isn't sustainable. And it just doesn't help physically, obviously. It doesn't help your metabolism. It doesn't help your mentality and your relationship with food or fitness for that matter. So obviously studies show that consistency, which is everything you're seeing preached about these days, consistency, and even what I was just talking about, a couple minutes every day, consistently. So studies show that consistency reduces the lack of long-term adherence and lack of lifestyle, which obviously that just makes sense. But it also helps reduce any kind of inflammation, it helps reduce any kind of muscle fatigue, and it helps reduce any kind of intensity fatigue, which basically just means when you fall off the wagon and you got to get back on, and then the whole cycle starts all over again. If you can think back to when you were at your worst or your lowest and how hard it was to get started, it's going to feel like that every time you try to like do full stop, go bender, go crazy, and then come back to get back on track. It's going to be that much harder to work your way back up to where you were already. And even if you feel like, oh, well, I haven't made that much progress, or oh, it just started. That's it. You started though. You did it. You did the hardest part. You did the whole title of this podcast. You did the heaviest weight. You fucking started. So why would you stop now? Like that. I think I get so worked up about that because it doesn't make sense in my brain. And maybe I'm the weird one, but I just don't just chalk it up to, oh, I'm just a few days. Right. And the weekend is only 2 days. And we've all seen the people who go on weekend benders and then try to like do super restricted diets on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're burnt out by Thursday and they go crazy Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They don't get results. They're losing the same 5 pounds over and over again. They're feeling gross by the end of Sunday night and bloated and heavy. And then by Monday, they're like, I've got to get over this. They feel good. By Tuesday, they're like, ugh, I hate a salad. And then by Wednesday, they're just like, well, maybe tomorrow I'll just have one latte with a biscuit. And then there it just fucking goes to shit. So I know that was dramatic, but it's not, because I see it all the time. You know what I mean? Anyways, I digress. Just getting on my soapbox right from the jump of the episode. Whew. Here we go. again, going back to this all or nothing mentality that just kind of like grinds my gears a little bit when I hear people say, all my progress will just go away in a week. I'm pretty sure it didn't take you 1 week to make all that progress. And believe it or not all of your calories that you burn and all the weight you lose and all the muscle intensity that you get and the endurance that you get comes from just your workout. In fact, a very small percentage of your overall caloric burn comes from your actual workout. A lot of that comes from your day-to-day activity, and we will dive into that in just a second. But I think that's crazy that people think that, oh, well, if I'm going on a voyage, for example, on a ship for a few days, and they think, oh, well, you know, they're going to have all this amazing food and I'm going to have all these things to do and I'm just, you know, all my progress is going to be undone. So it's all for naught. I'm so relieved to be the one to tell you that muscle does not melt or just get dissolved into the body. And it doesn't happen overnight anyways. And likewise, fat gain doesn't happen overnight. I know some people want to be like, it feels like it. Yeah, okay, well, it's not happening that way. It takes a gradual time of consistent surplus, meaning so you're in a caloric surplus, you're eating more than you're burning, and also you're not moving as much. You might be eating different sources of food, some that might have higher fat content, higher sugar content, harder to process. Alcohol affects your metabolism. So sure, you could affect it. You could rev the needle in one direction or the other, but it doesn't mean all your progress is going to go away. So with that in mind, I like to also talk about, you know, the point here is to not panic or freak out or be like, if I'm not on my A game, if I'm not bringing my scale to the restaurant at this exotic resort, like I'm not going to make my progress. That's not true. It does not have to be that crazy. Enjoy food, enjoy the experiences that as a culture and as a world at this point we've curated around the food industry, and, you know, take those moments in because you don't get them again. So be present in that moment and enjoy that moment. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. You know, for my number one rule, if you're drinking alcohol, drink a glass of water in between each cocktail you have. The body will come back fast. As soon as you get back into the routine, it will be like, yes, we're back. We got this. And it will know what to do. It will respond appropriately. So don't feel like, oh, if I have this one meal or I have this few days where I'm eating a little bit more and I'm moving a little less or whatnot, like all of it's gonna go to shit. It really doesn't. It's not that dramatic. If it was, we would all be ripped in a month, and all of those 30-day booty gain workout programs that you totally bought from your favorite influencer people would have worked, and you'd all be looking like you had Brazilian butt lifts, but you don't, because that's not how any of this works. So with that being said, now that we've addressed some of those myths that I hate, we're gonna go again. And we're going to talk about what I think are, I would call kind of like my rules of thumb when traveling. And this is things that like I do use and I encourage clients to use all the time when you're traveling often or traveling for long periods of time, vacation, whatever. These are my healthy travel tips to help mitigate all of those like evil little myth thoughts that we've trained our brain to do. So my first, and even my partner will know this to be true, like walk as much as possible. I seldomly take elevators. I think the only time I take an elevator is when I'm on a time crunch and I have, like, I just finished the gym and I have to be somewhere on the opposite side of the ship very shortly after. I'll take the elevator, mainly because I just finished training legs and I'm like, yeah, I'm taking the elevator. But outside of that, in real life, outside in the world, walk as much as possible, take the stairs as much as possible. Talking about overall caloric burn and things that I was just mentioning previously, your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. If I had time to edit videos, I would put it right there for you, NEAT. But yes, this activity thermogenesis is basically where most of your calorie burn comes from. So it can be especially beneficial on your vacation to take those extra steps, to move a little more, to explore a little more. So my recommendation is, if you're in a port, if you're in a city that you've never been, or, you know, you're on an excursion of sorts, don't take the Uber. You know, feel free to foot traffic up and down the block and around the corner and experience things on foot. Traffic, you know, mind the city, obviously. If it's not the best neighborhood, maybe don't decide to walk 20 steps into the neighborhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Be smart, be safe. I feel like that goes without saying, but let me just preface and cover my ass. Be smart, but if you can, walk. When we're in port on the ship, there's obviously a bridge that goes right out of the port and into downtown, and it's a very easy for us to use that bridge instead of the 5-minute Uber drive it would take to go over the bridge. And it's not bad. It's a beautiful little walk. So things like that, small decisions like that, and even if you're on let's say you're on a ship for several sea days, use the stairs. The ship is long. Walk from one end to the other. Get your, don't just feel like, oh, that's so far, maybe later, or maybe when I'm already on that side in like 2 hours from now for that one thing, then I'll do that. No, just walk. Just easy. It's the easiest way to burn calories. Just walk around, explore, sightsee, do the things. Rule number 2, hydration is going to be your bestie for the restie. Hydration's your ride or die. Hydration is going to help decrease fatigue. There's so many times where I'll see people munching on just snacks effortlessly because they're like, I just feel like I'm peckish. I just feel like and I go, how much water have you had? And they go, right. If you have to think about it like that, the answer is wrong. That's what the answer is. So dehydration will increase those fatigue. It will increase false hunger signals, and it will increase bloating, water retention, and all of that stuff because your body's like, for my millennials out there, that SpongeBob reference where he's like with Sandy and he's just like, I need water. That's literally your body when you don't drink enough water. So easy rule of thumb, if you're traveling, bring one of those collapsible or like silicone water bottles that you can like stack and wrap. I have one even for my dog, so don't play with me. But you can I also use this lovely guy you've seen in all of my videos all the time on the ship, and I have multiple. Let's talk about it. I have multiple because sometimes I just want a different one that matches my outfit. But that's because I live here. If you're short on like packing and you only have room for the essentials, grab a collapsible one because then you have no excuse. And then you can refill your water as much as you want. And then that's an easy way to track how much water you're drinking. Because if you're like, oh, I only have one of these bottles of water, you've only had 12 ounces, 16 ounces of water. And if you're like, oh, I've had 6 of these, we're in a way better place. You feel me? Easy. Number 3, and this is my diet hack while you're traveling. I would aim, if you're normally eating 3 to 4 meals, I would aim at least 2 meals to be the healthy, mindful meals of your day. And then that gives you the opportunity to have a little bit more flexibility for the smaller, maybe like a snack meal, and a heavier, bigger meal, whether that be your lunch or dinner, or however you want to set that up. Maybe you have a brunch and then you only eat like maybe once or twice after that. And those 2 after brunch are your smart meals, if you will. So your healthy meals are obviously going to be your protein-rich, fiber-filled, very nutrient-dense meals. Looking for fruits, looking for veggies, looking for a lean protein source such as chicken, things like that. Again, if your healthier meal is more on the breakfast side, look for egg whites, look for an omelet with veggies, things like this. Something that has sustenance that's going to keep you satiated and still help you feel full, but have the higher or better food source options that are available to you. If you're traveling and you're staying at an Airbnb, girl, go to the grocery store. Done and done. That's it. You don't have an excuse. But if you're somewhere where you don't have the option to cook for yourself or shop for yourself, and you are the subject to the chef, if you will, pick the better sources, the leaner options, fish, protein, fish as your protein. I have said that sentence. Or chicken as your protein for a lunch or a dinner type of thing. Like I said, egg whites. You can also do a grilled chicken wrap for like a breakfast if you're about to go out, explore the world. Maybe something a little bit heavier with like toast, or a wrap with some carbs is great. All awesome options. Salads. I love a big salad. You'll see me on occasion, especially when I've been out on the upper decks for a lot of my classes in the morning. A salad just hits the spot. I get a lot of lettuce, spinach. I put like egg, chicken, even a little bit of tofu in there, throw some corn in there, and I mean, done and done. Like, a little bit of everything that I want, and I can barely finish the bowl because the leafy greens are so filling without being calorically dense that I feel full, I feel good without feeling heavy, which is exactly where we want to be. And again, that means you have all this free time to then, if you want to try dessert at dinner, if you want to go get something sweet halfway through the day, or if you're out in town and you want to explore some of the locals' food, then you have the flexibility, you have that option, and you don't feel so crazy restricted, and you feel like you're missing out on the experience that you're there for. I feel like that's enough of that. That makes all sense. We're so close to the end. My 4th rule of thumb: short workouts are still workouts. And it goes back to myth busting all the way at the top of this episode. 10 to 20 minutes. That's all it needs to be if you're really in a time crunch. If you're not, I would urge, encourage, and inspire you to try a 30 to 45 minute workout. I find that to be a sweet spot, and it can be a HIIT-based kind of high intensity interval training for those who don't know HIIT, but it is just, that means you have a short amount of time where you're giving a very heavy intensity, a short recovery break, back into it. So you have HIIT classes you could take, resistance workouts, or anything like that will all count. A short group fitness class, if you have those near or accessible to you. If you're on the ship, you have no excuse. I host about 100 a voyage. come to any of them that makes sense for your brain. And I do different styles too. And I think that also needs to be addressed. Like, obviously I don't know how the rest of the world runs, but the way I run my ship, I have different classes to speak to different markets and different audience. So if you're a Pilates princess, I have a class for you. If you're my spin mamacitas, I have a class for you. If you are my hit class gangsters, I also have a class for you. So whatever genre or style in which way you like to work out, I almost promise you there's a class nearby that is in that same wheelhouse, and you'll probably love just getting to experience it from a different perspective, a different instructor than you normally have, a different environment than you normally go to. I remember when I was getting ready for my show in FMG, Mexico, and we were in Playa del Carmen, and we walked to find a gym. We found this gym, and one of the other athletes that was with us at the time, she saw a Zumba class starting, and she was like, oh my gosh, I love Zumba. I'm going to go and just take the Zumba class. And I was like, bet. Find me at the stairs in an hour. And she had the best time. And I mean, she was like filming it, and there were like a whole party in there. And yes, guess what? I teach Zumba on the ship. So all that to say is, you have the opportunity to explore and actually make fitness part of your vacation, not I have to do fitness in spite or in addition to having my vacation. It can be a moment. You guys can sign up for a class you've never done before, because guess what? Who cares? You're never going to be there again, or you won't know those people ever again, or whatever. So like, let it be part of the moment if you want to, but I encourage you 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You can do a functional training if you don't like the group fitness mentality. Again, you can do it from the comfort of your own room. You can do it in the hotel gym. You can do it in your facility if you have one, whatever the case may be. So, and if you know you're going somewhere that doesn't have a gym for you, bring some bands, bring some anything like that, like bring resistance bands and those like booty bands, whatever, and you could get a killer workout at home or in the hotel room, Airbnb, wherever you're staying. And if you need help on that, you know who to come talk to. The travel bug herself. Last rule of thumb, rule number 5, because you know I'm going to talk about it, so might as well talk about it now. Sleep is your superpower. Yes, sleep is your superpower. Sleep increases that recovery rate. It helps suppress cortisol. It helps regulate your appetite, your cravings, all of that stuff. So if you're in a time zone difference, this can be a struggle. And this is why I think it's so important that when you're at home to always have a nice home sleep routine, because then you can just mirror that later, and it can help regulate your body being like, oh, we are resting, we are getting ready to go to sleep. But other options you can do is keep the room at a cooler temperature. You can use a sleep mask or any kind of like facial covering, even if you sometimes just a towel over the eyes, a nice cool cloth, if you will help kind of just relax your brain and your mind and your eyes from going crazy, just like staring at nothing. And also keeping yourself as close to your normal regular sleep schedule as possible does help. I know you might be on vacation and you might want to stay out and you might want to see the shows or the parties or the things and be part of the nightlife. But if you, my friend, are not always part of the nightlife, pick 1, 2, maybe 3, depending on how long your stay is, of those nights to stay up. And the rest of the nights, really try to give your body that rest to go to bed on the closer, maybe not exactly at your normal bedtime, but within that 1 to 2 hours within that bedtime will help you stay more rested regulated and also help you when you get back into your real life, back on wherever home is for you. That way you're not just like feeling like you just went through a week or more of like crazy whiplash, no sleep, hangover, extravaganza, and then now you're trying to like rebuild from literally ground zero. So with all of that, those are my 5 golden rules, if you will. Let's recap. Walk as much as possible. Hydrate all the time. Drink so much water. At least 2 healthy meals a day, or better options, so that you have that room for some flexible dieting. All of those meals should feel fulfilling. Don't forget that you should also take those short workouts, 10 to 20 minutes minimum, 30 to 45 minutes, sweet spot. Try a group fitness class, try whatever you need. And then remember to get your sleep. It's your superpower. It's going to help you reset, recover, and take on the next day of exploration and all that good stuff. So, a little rapid fire round for post-voyage, post getting back into the world. These are just some more of those things I hear that I just kind of want to address before I send you on your way. Detox teas after vacation. Do they work? Should I use them? No. You don't need to. It's a waste of money. Your body does that normally, as long as you're feeding it the right things, as long as you're making those healthy choices. Usually detox teas, a lot of people who say that are worth drinking heavy and all that stuff. That's what your liver's for. You don't need a detox tea. You need to drink water. Great. Should I fast the whole day after being on a big vacation, or a big vacation meal specifically? No. Please don't. Because going super far out and bloating yourself and having that belly digestion really struggling to process all of that extra food in one big meal, and then to just not eat, doesn't help. And also it doesn't help mentally either. More than anything, it really doesn't help mentally. So skip the guilt. Eat your breakfast. Eat the next meal you were going to eat anyways. Let that be small and one of those healthier options. And don't forget to walk it off, because if you have a big full meal and you start just walking, very casual, very relaxed step of walking, you're going to feel so much better. This one, can I just outrun vacation calories, or can I just burn it off with another extra class or an extra day at the gym? No. That's also that slippery slope of like, oh, I can just outrun bad diet, which has been proven time and time again that that doesn't work. But it's better to just be proactive and plan for those bigger meals, or plan for those little extra sweet treats here and there, and balance out the overall diet. Having those 2 structured meals, 2 more flexible meals, I think is a perfect balance. And if you don't feel hungry, don't eat 4 meals. If you're only hungry for 3 meals that day, eat 3 meals. Even if on land you regimentally eat 4 meals. There's so many things that go on with our bodies when we travel. The food sources are different. Everything's different. Water retention, especially if you had to take a flight, that all messes with stuff. So don't feel like you have to stick to your structure if you're normally eating 4 meals. There's sometimes I don't eat my normal amount of meals. I'll swap one out for a protein shake, and then the meal after that is a light salad, and that's it. And like, that's fine. That's fine. As long as I'm hitting my protein goal and I'm doing my stuff that I want to do, totally fine. So with all of that being said, traveling and being part of the vacation, you don't have to miss any of the experiences that you want to explore or see or partake with who you're with, or if it's a solo trip. This is all about just finding a little bit more balance and a little bit more structure within your travel. It's making it part of your lifestyle, right? This fitness journey that you're on, these nutritional habits that you have, they're part of your fitness, like, forever. It's not about like just looking good to be in that swimsuit on that vacation and then whatever. That's not what it's really there for. This is here to help the groundwork for a longer life, a better quality of life, all of those things, to feel good. So don't let those, like, I don't know, negative connotations of vacation food and splurging and having a little bit of extra calories here and there totally make you feel like you have to be on this like all or nothing mentality. That is not the name of the game. That it's not sustainable in any capacity, and it doesn't make for a fun time while you're there. You've spent the time, you worked your ass off, you saved enough PTO and money, and you planned and organized all of this. So enjoy it. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just be smart and plan ahead, like most things in life. You know, it really, I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox. I've left this episode way longer than I thought it was going to be, but I just want to make sure that you feel prepared and you feel excited for your trip. And if you have any questions or anything at all, let me know. You know where to find me. I can be your travel guide to a good time. So with that being said, I will see you next time. Keep on, keep it on, keep kicking ass, and we'll chat soon. Remember to share, like, subscribe, and of course follow me at the heaviest_weight_podcast on Instagram. And you can always send me a coaching DMs at cc_fitness17. And I'll see you there.